She seemed absolutely healthy when she was born and wasn't in special care. We took her home from hospital and we didn't have any idea that there was anything wrong. She'd been flickering her eyes for a few weeks and I just went for a regular checkup and I mentioned it to our GP, and just perfect timing, she did one right in front of her and she called up. She said, I need to make a phone call, and she sent us straight down to the hospital and said she was having seizures, and we got to the hospital and we were there for 3 months. By the time she was 11 months, her seizures were pretty much continuous. She was having about 150 seizures a day. It wasn't until really she was about 3 that we had an MRI scan, and they said that she's got a degenerative disorder and that it was likely to be metabolic or mitochondrial in origin, but they couldn't tell us what it was because they didn't know. That was just the information they were getting from her brain scans, but that they probably thought at that point we had about, they said 1 to 2 more years, didn't they? And we had almost another whole year to the day since they told us that.
She was a beautiful baby girl, very, very happy, very healthy, in fact bigger than any of the other children that we'd previously had, because we'd always had premature children and lost one previously, as you know. And she was such a good baby in hospital that there was nothing, you know, all the doctors were pleased with her, and we came home much earlier than normal. It was about Christmas time, I think, wasn't it, when I first thought, there's something wrong here. So I said I want to see a private paediatrician, went to see her. She took one look at Florence and said, very happy, healthy, small baby, and looked at the previous paediatrician from the NHS's report saying there's nothing wrong with her. And she delved in a bit deeper, found out that we'd lost our baby Sam 2 years before, and said that she thought that I was still suffering from the loss of the baby before, and that I probably wasn't feeding Florence enough. I began to actually think that I was mad. And it was only when we finally went to see a heart specialist, and where I broke down in tears and said, you say there's nothing wrong with her heart, but look at her. You know, she's 9 months old now, and she's wearing 0 to 3 month old baby grows, and she is still, you know, fat and plump and happy and healthy. You know, she's not failure to thrive. I'm not starving my daughter, and I'm not ill. There's something wrong with her. And he said to me as I left the room, he said if she was my daughter, I'd be battling every door down to find out what's wrong with her. Honestly, I can replay every single last second of what happened after that. Finally in A&E, the doctor saying, actually there is something wrong with your child. That night she was transferred from Cheltenham to Gloucester, and it was a young doctor who was in paediatrics for her first week, and she mentioned the word metabolic disorder to me, and I thought, oh good, great, we know what it is. We've got a diagnosis, you know, and we'll sort it out, it'll all be fine.
Into Google goes metabolic, out comes 20,000 references to death. The next couple of days later, the word mitochondrial, that goes into Google. A bit of a further fine-tuning, but all resulting in pretty nightmare scenarios.
We were just told they were premature, and that due to heavy ventilation they had problems, but we were also told that they could equally well go on to be normal, healthy children. The girls were tiny, but they were still alive, and I suppose we hoped that everything would be all right. Heidi was already very, very sick. We didn't know what would happen with her. And then all of a sudden, Katie's really sick. We'd been making plans for her to come home. I'd brought her a cot, I'd brought her lots of stuff to come home to. Emmy was, you know, still doing all right, but, you know, she also had her share of problems. Heidi had a lot of episodes where she would stop breathing and have to be resuscitated through throughout her life she was slowly getting worse. So I already knew that we were losing her, but it was like we were losing her and then, oh my God, we're losing Katie too.
We were told Lily had days to live, and we were given some choices. Our choices were to stay in hospital with Lily and wait for her to die, to either take her to a hospice and spend the time there with the family and the other two girls, Katie and Rosie, Dave and I, or to actually take Lily home. And there was no choice for us. We immediately wanted to take Lily home and spend as much time as we had as a family together in our own home environment. In those 6 months, we saw Lily smile, play with her toys, do things that we were told that she would never ever do, and it was a very, very special time.
We were just going to enjoy every moment that we had with her, really, didn't we? And we took her on holiday and we threw a huge, great big birthday party for her 4th birthday, and we invited all her friends and all her nurses and everyone, and we just did everything we could do with her, well, her disabilities permitting. Obviously, taking her and her oxygen tubes and suction machine and saturation monitors on a plane to Lanzarote takes a lot of planning, but we did it. Yeah, we did it. It was and it was lovely.
It was lovely having her at home with us, and every morning we'd walk in and she'd be there with this just grin on her face, lying on her back, and it was heaven. And we took Florence down onto the beach, and someone was on the beach and they took a photo of all of us together, one of the only pictures we have of us all together, and she had sand in her toes. I really wanted her to feel the wind in her face, look out at the ocean and feel the soft sand in her toes. And she sat there and she smiled, and then she fell asleep in your arms.
They said, well, there's nothing more we can do, and I just immediately said, my other 2 babies died in hospital, I want Emmy to come home. All right, we knew it was going to happen, but we sort of pretended a little bit, I suppose, that it wasn't, and we took her out loads of different places. We took her out somewhere every day, and we just enjoyed her, and we got Christmas with her, and we put up a tree, and we had a really special day on Christmas. And then my husband's birthday is January the 9th, and we got that as well. And we just felt really lucky to have got that time with her.
I was at home, but Becky was sort of sitting with her, helping me with her. And I just lifted her up from Becky while she'd gone downstairs to help Connor with something. And she almost seemed to relax when I'd picked her up. And I thought, oh, this isn't good. And her alarms went off. And so I switched her alarms off because I just didn't want to hear them beeping. I didn't want to hear them do that flat line at the end. And I think I called you up, didn't I? I said, I think she's dying. And then, no, you just gave her a kiss and said it's okay. And she just breathed out.
So you can go now.
She was grey and her eyes were closed and her breathing was rasping, and I just picked her up and I just said, oh my God, Jane, she's dying. And Jane said, it's okay, don't worry. You'd got up, hadn't you? And I took Florence.
We basically took turns in cuddling her in bed, and she died in my arms.
But it was, do you know what? It sounds unbearable, doesn't it? But actually, it was so beautiful. We were so lucky. She slipped away so peacefully, and she'd had one of the best afternoons that you could ever imagine.
I had noticed as the time went on that she was getting weaker in herself, but then she got another cold and basically we knew. It's just terrible when you lose your babies.
She was what she was. She didn't catch anything. It wasn't anybody's fault. She was born with the condition, with mitochondrial disease. She was born like that. And I think that her life, and I will continue to believe, had a purpose. And I think, and I've said it before, that this is it, the Lily Foundation. And I think that it will make a difference.
Sometimes I feel like throw my hands up in the air.
Are you enjoying the experience so far?
I am. I'm running with my brother-in-law Dave. We're running for Lily.
Sometimes I feel like saying, Lord, I just don't care. But you've got the
£400,000 we need over 2 years, so it's a great cause.
Sometimes it seems the going is just too rough. And things go wrong no matter what I do. Now and then it seems like the life is just too much. But you got the love I need to see me through.
What charity are you playing for?
We're playing for the Lily Foundation.
Live from Villa Park, the man who is coming third in the Twitter race between me, him and Darren Bent is Andy Burton. Hello, Andy Burton.
The prediction is you come in last and give a day's wages to charity. Darren Bent comes in second, and I'm definitely going to win it. Twitter.com/footballandy, and you donate money to the Lily Foundation if you sign up.
Shameless.
You got the love, you got the love, and you got the love. Time after time, I think, oh Lord, what's the use?
Without the Lily Foundation, this research basically wouldn't happen. And so one is aware of financial constraints at the moment. It's having an effect on research, and this project is being funded by the Lily Foundation.
George and Lydia, now nearly 9 and 8, ask questions about what it's going to mean for them. You know, are they going to die as well? So the other thing that gene testing would be useful for is to give some clarity to not just the rest of the extended family, but our close family.
The doctors who obviously are working as hard as they can and trying to solve everything, and they just can't get the information about it.